I'll just start in brief actually. We have started discussing on this finance bill, and last time we have discussed on this certain aspect of ISD, and
Correct.
yeah, and certain this definition of this local authority. And
Yeah.
then I think track and trace is 12 and 13 also that regarding voucher.
Vouchers.
We have discussed.
Yeah,
So I think
madam. So
17,
in the
yeah,
vouchers, I think we didn't complete it. We just said it. So
okay,
ISD, we had a long discussion.
yeah.
But the
So
vouchers being deleted, I just want to know what would be the impact.
yeah, so should I refer that circular also, that will give a certain aspect where all it is covered and where all it is omitted actually.
Yeah.
Detailed circular has been issued, so okay.
Yes, madam.
I
We
just
have
can.
Sujata also on board today.
Yeah, Sujata is there. Last time we were remembering her actually on this.
Sujata, madam.
Yeah, I
After
am not that handy. I
no,
have
no.
to
After
read.
after your article, they have deleted this voucher. So I don't know
Yeah, that
what.
Good
is
one,
what.
good one.
Whatever I'm reading, they are undoing. So all my learnings are going to dustbin.
No, no, no. You are creating a new law. You should know that.
Yeah, new circular has come, after that. They started thinking after reading that. So that is what.
We are
When
contributing to change of law, madam.
what we can do is I'll just finish 2, 3 aspects are there in this bill, then we can go to the circular.
Okay,
So
madam.
yeah, so that was a thing. Majorly, one was this IMS was there. This was a changes, and then yeah. So IST we have discussed. So this is one is regarding IMS. Shall we take it now? And this credit note also. No?
Yeah, please,
So
please, sir.
yeah. So majorly regarding this credit note, they have also added the provision, as we all are well versed with this credit notes, where they can issue, like they have given 4 situations where there is a change in the taxable value, the tax rates, where there's a sales return of goods, and where there's a deficiency of services. So there are 4 situations where they have defined that credit note can be issued, and also they have stated that there will be no reduction if the incidence has been passed to the other person. So now, in addition to that, also they have also added a provision in this section 34(2), where they have stated that input tax credit as attributable to such a credit note if availed has not been reversed by the recipient, where recipient is a registered person. So now there was hello. I think there's some disturbance.
Sujata, madam, I'm muting you.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. Now earlier there is a condition in 15(3) regarding that discount also, and there was a condition that there should be a reversal of credit, then only the benefit of post discount was allowed. But always there was no mechanism which was provided in 34 for the reversal of credit by the recipient. So now they have added this provision to in compliance with this section 15, so that the benefit of credit note can be availed only when the recipient has reversed the credit. And in the last budget also they have added a mechanism of a certificate by the recipient, where they have to, as a supplier of they have to take a declaration from the recipient that they have reversed the credit. So that was inserted in the last finance bill, and there was a circular on that aspect also. But now in the section itself, they have proposed to bring out as a provision saying that whatever the input tax credit which is attributable to that credit note, if it is not reversed by the recipient, then I think the benefit of reduction of output tax will not be permitted to the supplier. So this is one of the major, in fact, indirectly the department has given this responsibility to the supplier itself, that the benefit of reduction in output tax liability will not be availed unless the recipient has not reversed the credit to that extent. So it is a responsibility of the supplier to verify that recipient has reversed the input tax credit. So I think this is what the amendment in 34. So anybody else?
So
Yeah.
condition, it is like, sir always says credit notes are suo motu refund. So now for claiming the suo motu refund, he has to ensure this and also get declaration.
Yes.
I think it's going to increase the
Declaration was there only for the discount perspective.
yeah.
It was wherever the
No,
discount.
but because how will the supplier come to know whether he has reversed or not? He
Yes,
would have
yes.
uploaded the credit notes,
Yes.
and again, few people are reducing it from 4A5, few people reversing it in 4B2.
Yeah.
For officer dashboard also, it is
Yes.
like, uh,
Yes. And we
I
don't
think,
know whether they are reversing temporary or permanent. That is also
mm,
is
mm, mm.
yeah.
I think declarations are the only
Yeah.
way out.
So I think this has to be inbuilt now in their controls.
Mm.
So whenever they are going to have the contract with the recipient, wherever it is B2B, they also have to, along with the other documents, they also have to incorporate these documents from the tax perspective.
That way, it would have been better if that was being reversed in whatever 4B1, no? The system should populate that in 4B1 itself
Directly, actually.
instead of 4A5, so that at least officers also have, I mean, kind of know, like, okay, there are some values over there. And if there are no other things, then, like, if there are no common credit reversals and all that, it will show up as a straightforward values of these credit notes.
But reversal is a assessment by the taxpayer itself. See, it can populate the credit. Ultimately, reversal is the one which has to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
with the taxpayer. So
Yeah.
I know. So this is
Yeah. So again, there are instances where, they wrongly upload and again they wrongly issue credit notes.
So this is only for GST credit notes. That is what they have got.
Yeah, correct. No, sometimes if wrongly invoices are issued and they just nullify it using the credit note mechanism, no?
Correct.
But the recipient wouldn't have availed that or availed and reversed it. Again, challenges will come in that respect also.
Okay.
It is like go by the portal can be the best way. Whatever portal shows up.
Anybody else would like to contribute on that, or we'll proceed further on this study?
So Venu sir, what challenges after this?
Just give me 1 minute.
So was there any thought process when they introduced GSTR2 originally? Or nothing was
No,
thought about
because in
this kind?
GSTR 2, 3, that section 42, 43 also, for credit notes, they say reduction in the ITC and not, I think once we had discussed about it, no, and not reversal. So that is why we thought like, okay, 4A5 values getting reduced itself has some connect with erstwhile section 42 and 43, which is now resigned, of course. But then there again, in case of credit notes, the language used was reduction of ITC and not reversal of ITC.
So, in my view, the law is framed, but without the procedural definition. There is no way the supplier still can know that the recipient has reversed the credit note, and they are now saying B2B. Okay, we clearly know even the 3B is locked. Right now, they're locking 3.1. I think the only way is to get the declarations where the circular has been issued for the discount incentive, even for the sales return and other things. Otherwise, there is no mechanism defined in the law to state the recipient has reversed the input tax credit. Assuming if it credit note pertaining to my ineligible credit. Original credit itself I have not reduced, I have not availed. So when the credit note comes in my 3B, I will do nothing. In my 4F, I will not reduce. 4B1 also I will not report. So looking at that statement, the officer cannot say that the recipient has not reversed. Maybe original was in April, credit note is in say September. So September 3B cannot be an evidence for the officer to disallow the supplier's reduction. I would still say that going ahead, taking a declaration as per the circular, though that was intended only for section 15, extending it to all the provisions of section 34 is my view. Because law is made without any procedure, and even only the taxpayers have to do their safeguards.
Can you just swipe that? I mean, can you come back to that section 34 amendment?
Yeah.
So, okay. So what are the safeguards with respect to clause number 2?
Clause number 2 is anyway it is there that incidence of tax on such supply has been passed to any other person.
Correct. For B2C, no?
Hmm.
So how do we prove that?
No, that is all. That is already there, na? That whatever the taxes you are collecting, that you are not. It has already been passed to any other person. So there is no reduction in that output tax. This is for the financial credit notes, basically.
Yeah. So whatever, if we have refunded the money,
Yeah.
No,
maybe
this is not for
something.
financial credit note. This is for 34 credit notes, madam.
Yeah, 34 credit notes. That's what
Yeah.
tax has not been passed. Any other cases, I'm just thinking.
Yeah, because see, the first clause is registered person, which is B2B credit notes.
Hmm.
Second clause is for other than B2B, which is by and large B2C.
Hmm.
So for B2C, probably those, I mean, again, ledgers are my own books of accounts.
But you think B2C, there is a condition that this proviso is specifying is applicable?
No, this was already there, na, Kuber.
No, this was already there. But you look at this proviso and we have this section 155. So 155 is talking
Yeah.
about the burden to prove or to claim
Yeah.
the input tax credit.
Correct.
This is for the supplier when he issues a credit note.
Huh.
I don't think it requires any declaration because this proviso itself is coming with with lot of conditions. If availed, attributable to such a credit note is reversed. So end of the day, what happens is in the course of assessment, when we were talking about the assessments,
Huh.
it is the adjudicating authority who should establish that okay, recipient has claimed input tax credit, and therefore in the absence of declaration, you are not eligible to claim the reduction in the output tax liability. So we were talking about not knowing whether recipient has claimed input tax credit or not. Even as a supplier, I will also be not knowing. So only thing what we can do is we can only take a declaration. But will that declaration also suffice?
Kuber, 155 you're talking, that is only for the recipient, na? That cannot.
Correct. Agreed.
So I
So
don't think we can connect this 34.2 with 155, na? Because 155 is purely for the recipient to prove to the department that he has reversed tax credit. Yes.
Exactly.
But
So
for
the
the
only
supplier
burden
safer side, yeah.
for the taxpayer, the only burden that the law has law is specifying is to prove that input tax credit. That is the burden on the taxpayer.
Yeah.
So there is such burden is not appearing elsewhere. This is all what we know.
Yeah.
So here also the burden is on the officer to prove that okay, input tax credit is claimed by the recipient. Therefore, I am disallowing this reduction in output tax liability.
No, if you see in discount also, there is a similar condition, right? That whenever you want to avail the post-supply discount, the one of the condition is that recipient has to reverse the credit. Then only you can take the benefit of post-supply discount. So similarly, they are coming
Similarly, correct.
with a
This is
document.
similar to 15.3.
Yes.
I'm not denying that.
Yeah.
But if availed as a supplier, I myself don't know whether the recipient has claimed the input tax credit or not.
That's why they have added if availed. That's why they
If availed. So it is coming with a condition.
Yeah.
So who knows whether the recipient has claimed the input tax credit or not? See, declaration, what we are talking is only, is only there on record. But there are chances that authority may disregard that declaration and say that okay, I'm not in a position to accept this declaration from the recipient.
So somewhere we can evidence this transaction with a document saying that based on our verification and documentation, we are able to see that the recipient has reversed the credit. See, ultimately that will be his declaration. So recipient has already given us a declaration. So today,
Correct.
like for example, 183, 193, the departments are relying only on the declarations which has been issued by the supplier. So simply,
183 specifies declaration.
yeah,
For
specify
credit note,
that's what.
Yes.
Yes.
For credit note, where is the legal backing for declaration?
I agree with that. There is no legal backing as such, but only 15.3 has brought last time as a declaration. So similarly, I believe that that can also be used for this kind of transaction.
I agree. Declaration would help us a
will
lot
help.
to
Otherwise,
claim
what
this reduction in output tax liability. But I am looking at, see, just because there is a credit note, there is no burden on me to go and prove that, okay, recipient has not claimed input tax credit, or if he has claimed, he has reversed the input tax credit. So it is okay. I have issued the tax invoice. I have issued the credit note. Both these tax invoice and credit note are appearing in 2B of the recipient. So with that, I think the taxpayer's responsibility ends. Now, when it comes to declaration, okay, off the record, I mean, without the law specifying the declaration, we can get that to
I remember
substantiate our.
Alternatively, I'm just thinking because they're bringing in this IMS, once whatever is uploaded and let's say it is accepted by the counterparty, whether it is through deemed acceptance or by the specific acceptance, that that action taken at least with respect to this credit notes
Exactly.
must be visible.
Correct.
Anpurna, I remember reading in 55th Council meeting. I don't know, I'll just open. They are planning to insert a 67B in the CGST rules where they are going to provide the mechanism for to the supplier for adjusting this credit note. 1 second, let me check.
So because otherwise it becomes really something, again we procure documents, but that will be sidelined by the officers and
Yes.
there's no way out. It becomes
that
like
is,
that. So
yeah.
if something could be, done across on the portal itself, so that wherever the recipient has accepted or, whatever, if he is not claiming it.
See what they have added in this 55th Council meeting is they have stated that
You shared the screen?
1 second, just I have to download 1 second.
Okay.
I'll just read out, it's 2 line, I'm just opening from. It is saying that to amend section 34(2) of to specifically provide for requirement of reversal of ITC as attributable to a credit note by the provided to insert a new rule 67B in CGST rules to prescribe the manner in which the output tax liability of the supplier shall be adjusted against the credit note issued by him. So I think there will be some mechanism for this.
But the prescribed word is missing in this proviso, madam.
Huh?
Prescribed. If they want to prescribe some rule to bring this mechanism.
Yeah, they have stated 67B, but I think it's not yet brought into this.
Yeah.
Well, the rules can come by central
Notification, yeah.
They
But
can use 148 also, no?
yeah. It is bringing under this, that's what they have recommended, but it is not yet notified. So I think something they will prescribe the manner.
Yeah, so
yeah,
it is only bringing effect of IMS since IMS has no legal backing till date.
yes.
So this is only to ensure that the IMS comes in. That is why the wordings in section 38 is also changed now.
38, correct. Mm.
So everything is from auto-generated, it is stated as statement.
Because the auto-generated 2B has a higher value.
Yeah.
The final 2B has a lower value. So now auto-generated cannot be the credit.
And if you download the GSTR 2B for I think December month onwards, you get some tabs or sheets where accepted, rejected, all that. Did you see that, Venu sir?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like the registered person is also getting the list of transactions on which what action has been taken, no?
Yeah.
Is it from his own data or is it what, I mean, it is ITC related or it is his
ITC
out
related.
ITC related?
No. My outward
Mm.
action taken by recipient is also visible to me.
That's what I was thinking, like, you know, so whatever you have
Registered
uploaded in
in which tab? Action taken by the recipient.
So in the IMS dashboard, you have outward and inward.
Okay.
When you go to the outward, it will show my sales register, and next to it, it will show what is the action taken by the recipient.
Okay. So to that extent, if a credit note is uploaded, we can see whether it has been accepted or not by the recipient.
But the problem that could be credit note has been accepted by the recipient, but he did not reduce his credit in 3 weeks. So 4A5, I did not show a lower figure, I have shown the higher figure. Right now, there is no safeguard to that is my statement.
So what you are saying is, in spite of what action has been taken, in 3B, you can go and modify those numbers.
I just want to share my screen once and want to take input from Venu sir. Can I do that?
Yes. Madam, please continue, madam.
And put I sharing na something.
But I'm unable to share the screen.
Madam, we are only seeing the finance bill. I think maybe you would have clicked on the pause or something.
Venu sir, can you enable the sharing of the screen for me?
1 second. That's what I'm just. Annapurna, you can.
Yeah. See, this is quarter 3 2B, which is downloaded. If we see additional tabs here, B2B ITC reversal, B2B DNR, B2B rejected. So this is from my outward supply perspective, or here we have B2B.
No, this is your inward. This is your inward only.
This is my inward only. So what out of the IMS inward dashboard, whatever I have rejected,
Yeah,
that will come here, is it?
correct.
Oh, okay. So similarly, we will have dashboard reports for outward also. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that means maybe that will become a basis for us to prove. Like, I mean, let's say first he accepts, then he rejects and all that.
See, the section 34 doesn't talk this. It says the recipient has to reverse the credit. I'm saying no way you can prove that he has reversed the credit.
I didn't get your point, Venu sir.
I will accept it, but in 3B, I will not change it. Then?
So there is a delinking between IMS and 3B.
Correct.
So then what is the whole purpose of this IMS?
No, that is where right now I'm saying law is made without safeguards. So the only
all of this
maybe.
looks like, yeah, so looks like because like, you know, that hard locking happens. then everything will be routed through this IMS and transaction level tracking will become quintessential, no? Credit notes will have challenges, I believe.
Yeah, it will have challenges
Yeah.
respect to
Yeah,
this.
please, you can share the screen and continue. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Pa.
Just a question.
Yeah.
This proviso which they have inserted now to 34, whether the 34, I mean, section 34 is the precise section to bring in this proviso, or would it have been better if this was part of section 17 or 17.5?
17.5 have connect to section this 16, no? So not restraining anything. So I think according to me, appropriate is 34 itself.
34 only, no, Kuber, but
Yeah.
you made this doubt, but I want to know on in what context you said 17.
17, yeah. 17.5, 17 is the provision which is restricting the claim of input tax credit. So why don't we have a provision to also reverse the input tax credit that are uploaded by the supplier?
This is a conditional, no? Actually, this is a conditional to a supplier, not to the recipient. And 17.5.
I get your point, Kuber. I get your point. Maybe a valid thing, which we can also recommend.
What is
ICA has asked.
What is it? Sorry, I couldn't catch what was.
Reno, 1 second. See, how you can say that it is valid, you tell me.
No, I'm saying
Because
No.
this, I'm not able to
making
connect that it is valid.
making a point in the law that wherever credit notes are issued, that will not be an eligible credit to the recipient. Explicitly stating that if you have a credit note, it forms part of ineligible credit.
So
In
that
17.
burden on supplier wouldn't be there. It will be only on the recipient.
Yes.
Yeah, I think.
Just a point to
We
discuss.
are
That's
thinking
all.
only from the point of view of the supplier. Look at the point of view of the recipient. He has received some goods or services and he has ensured the supplier has uploaded the invoice, so he is eligible for input tax credit. Then at any time till November of the subsequent financial year, the supplier unilaterally can issue a credit note. Whether it is valid or not, the supplier only has decided and the recipient is forced to reverse the input tax credit. So if you look at it from the recipient's angle, it becomes very unfair that the supplier issues a credit note and you are not even looking at the reasons, but the recipient is denied the input tax credit.
Now also it is unfair. Supplier issued a credit.
Yeah, but
You
where?
are not allowing him saying that recipient has not reversed without knowing how.
No, from the recipient angle, you can always say, okay, there is an obligation for me to reverse the input tax credit. At best, the department can say you are not paid within 180 days if the payment has not been made. Otherwise, under which provision will they come after the recipient in respect of credit notes of the suppliers?
That is why now section 17 will enable them.
No, I am saying that if you look at, there are many suppliers, practically, there are a few suppliers who will just upload an invoice, collect a payment, and later on reverse that invoice by issuing a credit note. Now, instead of looking at whether the credit note has been issued in accordance with the provisions of law, you just want to ensure that the recipient is forced to reverse the input tax credit.
Bhuvneshwari madam, look at the law now. This proviso, the new proviso, was actually present in the conditions what the new proviso is specifying now was actually a part of section 34(1). So 34(1) specifies that where the taxes that were supposed to be charged and the tax charged is in excess than taxes what was actually to be charged, then the supplier can issue credit note. So when 34(1) is referring to tax charged in excess, and the credit note issued under 34(1) is revising that tax, that itself covers the conditions that has been that the law is, that this amendment is planning to bring in certain conditions.
See,
34(1)
practically,
34(1) already has this.
okay, so it talks about only certain situations where the supplier is permitted to issue a credit note. But practically, wherever credit notes are being issued with a GST element, do you think all of those credit notes get covered under the situations listed in subsection 2? The registered persons are issuing credit note, whether or not it is covered under those situations. So that will continue to happen. And you are saying if we amend section 17,
No,
irrespective.
that was just a thought. That was just a thought.
No, I know.
To-
I just wanted to give the counter view for that.
Okay. So my point of view is 34(1) was already covering these scenarios. There is no new thing that proviso is bringing in. Only thing is that if there is a credit note, I am saying there is no burden on the supplier who is issuing the credit note to bring in the declaration and to prove that, okay, recipient has reversed the input tax credit. That's not the supplier's duty is what I'm trying to mention. That's all.
I think they want to, what I can say
Of
is
course.
put a
Of course.
burden on the supplier actually. That is what indirectly by way of proviso. They're trying to bring out that responsibility on the supplier that they have to check that the recipient has reversed a credit, because this was not very specific under 34 earlier. So that's the reason they just brought it out. And still, I'm not able to convince that this can be a block credit, because this is not something service or goods which you have received and which was eligible under 16(1), and now it has to be restricted under 17(5). This is only a transaction-based credit note. This is based on value-based or rate-based or whatever the reason-based credit notes are issued, and accordingly the reversal of credit has to be made. So I still feel that it has to be appropriate under 34 and not 17(5). But we can have this, we can ask sir if you want to take his view also. So this is what I understand. But anyway, this was a good point and give a new thought for us to think that why can it be under 17(5). Even the discount also they can bring under 17(5). So I think there is a reason behind bringing that under a specific section. That is what I thought on this. But anyway, it was I never thought of that.
Also, like, there are two clauses here. The condition of incidence of tax is applicable only to other than B2B. So for a B2B transaction, B2B credit note, irrespective
No,
of whether incidence.
Annapurna madam, I think we are reading it not right. See, incidence of tax on such supply is not only applicable to B2C. Even in case of B2B, even in case of B2B where I'm issuing the credit note on a condition that, okay, third person will be reimbursing me that, including GST amount. This is also passing of incidence of tax, right?
True. See,
I have issued the tax invoice. Now I am reversing that tax invoice by issuing the credit note on a condition that a third person is willing to bear the consideration along with GST on a condition.
Third
So that
person meaning?
Third person means some related party of recipient. I am supplying it to a recipient subsidiary. I mean, I'm supplying it to a subsidiary who is a recipient. So he is a related party, or holding company may say that, okay, I will pay you the consideration. You reverse this tax invoice. See, incidence of tax also would include something where we will factor this tax into the cost and increase the cost of supply. That will also qualify as incidence.
Correct. See, but for somebody who wants to, let's say, okay, now if I've reversed, that is equivalent to incident being passed on, or once reversal is done, that check is not applicable.
See, reversal is coming only as a part of clause 1.
Correct. For
Okay.
clause 2, it is like even in the reporting part, we reduce it from the output liability, directly put it in both GSTR 1 and 3B. So there again, as a condition, because it is more difficult in case of B2C for the department to rely upon. So the condition is incidence of tax has been passed on to any other person. Has been passed on.
Incidence of tax, this clause number 2 has got nothing to do with the claim of input tax credit. Even the recipient or some other party on whom the invoice is issued, or whether he has claimed input tax credit or not, if there is a situation where the authority comes across to justify that okay, incidence of tax has been passed on to some other person, whether recipient or not, then he may deny the reduction in output tax liability. So it is more for the authorities to say that okay, incidence of tax has not been passed on if they want to allow us the credit of output tax or otherwise. So instead of incidence of tax, what has been used in clause 2, we cannot only look at B2C or B2B. It has, we have many circumstances wherein we come across this situation. Even adding GST to the cost of supply is also a passing on incidence of tax to some other person. This is something, if we can go back to unjust enrichment, what we had in pre-GST regime, the same thing what they have brought in clause 2.
Yeah, but this entire thing is from the context of credit notes, right? When is the supplier permitted to reduce his output tax liability? That is all these two provisos talk about, isn't it?
Okay, can anybody give any examples for this incidence of tax?
See, basically, if let's say I have done a B2C sales and but I have not actually passed on. Let's say I also have issued the credit note, but
Okay.
that tax benefit I have not passed to the customer. Let's say I made a sale for 100 and 18 is the GST. I issued a credit note only for 100, which is the basic value. 18, I did not pass the benefit.
Okay.
So this could be one example where I've issued a credit note, but I've not passed on the incidence of this tax.
One example, correct. Agreed. But any other example? Because incidence of tax used here has a broader meaning. So you mean to say only
Madam, please come back to this thing, no? We will just relook at that proviso, how it is. Yeah. So it is a substitution wherein no reduction in output tax liability of the supplier shall be permitted if the ITC has not been reversed, incidence has been passed. So here he has passed on the incidence
to any other person, not only to the recipient.
On to any other person in other cases. See that there is that other cases. So the first clause talks about case where credit note is issued to a registered person.
Recipient.
Yeah, registered recipient.
Yeah.
So in other cases will cover other than the registered recipient. So
yeah.
So in the
Can we
example,
look at example of Amazon or something like that, where they were giving huge discounts and it was passed on to the distributors? Are they trying to cover that sort of a situation?
that situation will also get covered if the supplier is getting a portion of the consideration with taxes from Amazon.
Hmm.
This is how it is happening, right?
Yeah, that's how
The
it is happening.
credit note, many a times we come across the credit notes where they will not mention GST separately. But who knows that that is excluding GST or including GST? How will you prove that? Okay, this incidence of tax has not been passed on, or so this is more for the authority to justify that incidence of tax on such supply has been passed on to any other person.
So
So I,
again, burden
as a
versus onus.
yeah. Again, as a taxpayer,
If we take it to our court, then we have the onus of establishing that incidence has not been passed on. But it is easier for the officer to say that incidence, prove the incidence part.
yeah, it is not easy for him to prove the incidence just because how will he prove incidence has
No,
been
he
passed
will
on or
ask
not?
us. He will simply say that you have to prove the incidence. That is how the notices
No.
generally come up now.
Yeah, but that is how we are seeing the notices. But if the authority who proposes to disallow the credit note and deny the reduction in output tax liability on any of these grounds, no, has a larger role to play to justify many things. If he says that okay, incidence of tax has been passed, then he has to justify that. By merely stating that okay, incidence of tax.
Correct. So we question all that. So please support your allegation with evidence. That's what we'll question. Yeah.
So that's the reason why I mentioned section 155 also. So burden, we all know that okay, burden is on the taxpayer is only with respect to claim of input tax credit. So this is something where in the course of audit of books of accounts, the authority comes across a situation where he will identify situations prevailing in 192 of this proviso and deny the reduction in output tax liability. And declaration, of course, point well taken. IMS may be one reason why they want to bring in this proviso, acceptance or rejection of credit note. But other than that, I'm not seeing any additional responsibility on the supplier to get the declaration. However, declaration will always help to claim the reduction.
Kuber, kindly consider this point. When you are saying incidence of tax has been passed on, right? So in first proviso, they're saying input tax credit attributable to such a credit note has been reversed. Okay, that is the credit note has to be reversed. In second point, it is the tax on the original supply. Okay, so there is a differentiation wherein when I raise an invoice, it is assumed that the credit has been, the incidence of the tax has been passed on to other person. Because
Good
we have this
observation.
section
Yeah, very good observation.
49.9. 49.9 says every person who has paid the tax on goods or services or both under this act, unless the contrary is proved, shall be deemed to have passed on the full incidence of tax to the recipient. So once I raise an invoice and I have mentioned the tax there, the incidence is passed on to the recipient. Unless I prove that no, it is a cum tax benefit and tax amount is not mentioned there, then I can say that incidence is not passed on. But if I mention, it is always assumed under the law that incidence is passed on.
If you bring in that assumption, no, Deepak, then nobody will be able to claim the reduction in output tax liability.
Correct. Unless you give a credit note. In other cases, you may not be able to prove it.
No, but these issues are coming up in section 34(1), credit notes only.
Correct.
So
Correct.
while I cancel that original tax invoice,
Hmm.
while I cancel that original tax invoice, there is this additional condition which is denying the reduction in output tax liability if there is passing on of this incidence of tax to some other person. So when I issue a credit note, that itself will nullify the original tax invoice.
To
It is
that
as good as
extent.
cancelled.
To that
It is as
extent.
good as consider full value
Credit note.
the purpose
Okay.
of discussion. Yeah. So now, after issuing the credit note also, they are saying incidence of tax, if it is passed on to some other person, then also you are not eligible to claim reduction in output tax liability. That's the reason I was mentioning this requires more justification for the authority to say that, okay, incidence of tax has been passed.
No, I feel what you're saying is all correct, but the responsibility will be on the taxpayer, not on the officer. It comes mostly in the case of a B2C transaction. Because
No,
of
B2C,
two things.
there are many,
Yeah.
correct, agreed. There are many cases, B2C is one example.
Case, first proviso, it says registered person. Second proviso, it says any other person. Any other person here would imply any person other than the registered person. Which
Exactly.
means that
So it
the
won't cover B2C
receiver
also
is
then,
not
Deepak.
registered.
It won't cover B2C
Should
also
be
then.
as a B2C only, no.
No,
Any
it
other person
says
would mean any person
any
other than
other
the registered
person.
person.
Other
Any other
than,
person. It could include the receiver who is unregistered or any other person other than the receiver. Both cases will be get covered over here. And it is difficult to prove that the receiver has claimed the credit or not claimed the credit. He will definitely not claim a credit if it is if you have reported under B2C. So in that case,
yeah,
such credit notes, since you cannot prove, the law is trying to say that in a B2C transaction, even if you give a credit note, we will not give the benefit. So this is not correct, because in a B2C transaction, I can raise an invoice. The other person may not claim the credit. So if I give a credit note, why should I get denial of that benefit?
no,
So,
see, now also I
Deepak,
believe
maybe-
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, madam.
Yeah. So Deepak, it's a couple of very good fine reading and observations what you've made. So one is incidence of tax on such supply. So like in the like you mentioned, the first part talks about credit note, second part talks about such supply. Now just let's take the simple example of a B2C credit note. Initially, when I raised a invoice, B2C invoice, I have passed on the incidence of tax. When I've issued a B2C credit note, let's say I've issued it with GST part. So that has reversed the transaction, or it's like, let's say it's a return supply per se, then the incidence of has not been passed on after I've issued the credit note in a B2C transaction, right? So why do you say that, just because a credit note is issued to a B2C person, I am not allowed to reduce the output tax liability?
I am doing a strict interpretation of this second proviso.
No, I don't think so,
Incident-
because see, then it is like a double demand for this thing, or when there is no supply or a return supply, or whatever, it is like, how can the tax be retained by the government? So incidence of tax on such supply, correct? This is the original supply, which has got reversed owing to the issuance of credit note. And hence, once this part is fulfilled, I should be allowed to reduce the output tax liability even with respect to a B2C credit note. I think if we can take inputs from Jatin sir, we will get more confidence on what we're discussing.
Yeah, but yeah, good point to look into, saying that whether my incidence of tax by issuance of a credit note is considered as incidence of tax not passed on.
I
See,
passed
it
it
is
on and
coupled
put it
with
back.
the payment also. When you say passed on, it is when I made original supply, say 100 plus 18, I've collected 118. When I am issuing a credit note for 10 rupees, I should return him back 11 rupee 80 paise, not 10 rupees. I cannot return 10 rupees and still claim a benefit of 1 rupee 80 paise here in the thing.
So it should not be like my creditors no longer payable and hence written off.
Yeah. It's, it is more from the customer. So I am I'm taking a double benefit. I am not passing on the credit reversal to him like a B2C supply. He has returned the goods. I've acknowledged the return of the goods, but I told him that I will not pay the GST component. I've already paid to the government.
Yeah, sorry. So that is like debtors written off,
Return back.
written back.
We will continue. We are at 8:52. Madam. Senior Annapurna, madam. Next clause. You conclude and move on, madam.
I'm not able to share.
It's already shared.
Not able to share actually. Can somebody share?
No, you have already shared, madam. Screen is visible to us.
Oh, it is visible. I'm not able to see that. I'm able to see you, Venu.
Oh, okay.
Post. How can you see? I'm not able to see. Anyway.
Yes.
Can somebody share? Anpurna can share. I've just shared it WhatsApp. I'm not able to see that.
It's there in the WhatsApp. The finance bill you have
Yeah, it
already
is
shared.
there. Yeah. Shall I open it?
I just logged out of the system and joined through mobile, so I'm sorry I can't share.
Okay, no problem. I'm not able to share it. Yeah, let me try from this. Not able to share. Can somebody else can do? I think it's showing. Anpurna can just disconnect. Stop sharing. Now is it visible?
Yes.
Now I can see, yes. So we have discussed on 34 too, right? Now next is IMS we have discussed. There are some changes in that. Instead of auto-generated statement, they are substituted with the statement and in this subclause B, they have added such other details as may be prescribed. So I think we have to wait and see like what else they would like to add in that, or some residual clause they have added in this, which was not there. Earlier it was very specific in section 38, but now they have added a residual clause in such other details as may be prescribed. So we have to wait and see what are the details. And they have made a small changes in all these clauses A, B, and C. But I think they are just trying to bring out in compliance with this IMS in lieu of GSTR 2P.
So, what is the implication of removing this auto-generated statement? It means that since there is IMS dashboard, whatever I accept, reject, or whatever action I take through that,
yes,
That will come to my 3B after my actions are taken.
Yeah.
Venu sir, your inputs on this?
And they have used the word statement referred in. They have not only statement.
Yeah,
Yes.
so in the auto-generated statement, which is 2B, which is generated on 14th morning, it has full 100% values. Now, if the section says the credit is from auto-generated statement, then if I accept, reject, make some thing, then IMS has no relevance. So now the credit is not from the auto-generated statement.
If you read in clause subsection 1, they have substituted only a statement here. But if we read in subsection clause 2, in subsection 2, they have also stated a statement referred in here. So here they have only substituted with a statement. Here they have referred as statement referred in.
Yeah, so because subsection 2 has other safeguards,
Yeah.
so whenever they want to further block some credit,
Yeah. So I
even
think
though I have accepted, if they say the recipient, the supplier has not paid the taxes, like he's a newly registered taxpayer, they may restrict saying that he can pass on only up to 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs, whatever be the limit.
Yeah.
So that will be further be blocked.
Still, it is not prescribed actually. Even if you read 238 also, it is all saying prescribed, but nothing has been prescribed.
That is not prescribed yet.
So in that's why they have used a statement referred in. And then they have in clause A, they have removed because the clause A was details of inward supplies in respect of which credit of input tax may be available to the recipient. So and then they have added and then they have added the subclause so that and has been omitted. So it's not like both the condition has to be satisfied. I think they have made it more broader now by removing this and. I think it is yet to be prescribed and notified. So I think these are the certain changes they have made it as of now based on IMS.
Venu sir, so this GSTR 2B will still be auto-generated based on your action in IMS.
But you have two auto-generated statements thing. You have an auto-generated which is there on 13th, which is with 100% value. So going by the section, you can always go to the court saying that I am eligible for the auto-generated value. Why should my credit be reduced?
So you're saying what is generated on 14 is not auto-generated.
Hello. Hello.
Audible, madam.
Yeah. I missed something you were saying something, you know.
Venu, so we can't hear you.
We can't hear you. I think we are not able to hear you well. Hello. Well, no, we are not able to hear you. Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible. ma'am.
I'm audible at least. Yeah, I think even if we are not audible, I just passed on the message. Anyway, we'll wait and see. And then,
Yes, maybe it is not related to this, but maybe you can show and throw some light on this. Will it be related to income tax TDS also? The recipient will have to reverse to that extent of TDS.
where, which one you're talking?
The credit note once when he issues, the supplier will issue, right?
Uh-huh.
Then the recipient also would have deducted TDS, no? Income tax TDS.
Okay, that is anyway there now, Sujata.
So once if he receives, I mean, issues a credit note,
Huh.
the other party also to that extent, he should also reduce, no?
No, based on, see, whichever earlier you would have followed, na, the recipient, based on that invoice, whatever you would have received. But
Yes.
ultimately, this will be on purchase of goods or services, this credit what we are talking today. So, we
Assuming
are-
what happens to services.
yeah, services, that's what I'm saying. He would have made a payment on that. So, in case if there is any change in that, what is the reason for this credit note? We have to look into that. Is it change in the value, or is it because of sales return of goods, or is it deficiency in services? So basically, I think this will be for services, no? What TDS we are talking today.
Service, okay.
Hmm.
So in that case, what happens?
Because to the extent what I have experienced is they will, based on that original invoice only itself, they will deduct the TDS accordingly.
Okay, so
Ah.
after issuing the credit note, once again, the recipient will have to, readjust the TDS.
That I am not aware of that. If anybody else can add on that.
What will be the implication? Because tomorrow the declaration is fine. What will the mean?
No, but Sujata, this was there even from the beginning of the law itself.
Correct,
Only
correct,
this has been brought in the express word in the proviso. Otherwise,
correct.
this transaction is happening from the beginning itself, where they are supposed to reverse the credit when they this was there earlier, but now they have brought it expressly. But from the TDS perspective, I believe that they are going to deduct the TDS on the original invoice itself.
Correct. So again, there will be some mismatch between this turnover, that turnover.
Yeah, that will always be there.
So that will continue to be there.
Yes, yes. This is only from ITC perspective they are trying to bring out it.
So when they say you take the declaration from the recipient,
Yeah.
confirm that your credit note is valid, bona fide. So the same way the impact should have on the TDS, income tax TDS also.
But income tax, that's whatever the, for example, if it is a contractor bill and they would have already reduced the 2% to that extent on payment basis. So to that extent, I think but I have not seen anything as an implication of TDS for credit note. Whether it is a financial credit note or GST credit note, I have not seen any reduction of TDS because of credit note. Anybody else would like to add on that? They can add. If it is cancelled, then they will rework on that TDS. But because of credit note, I have not experienced a reduction in TDS actually.
Because during service tax times where this impact itself was not there, whether you issue credit note or not, it was not getting noticed at all. In such times, like the turnover used to show some turnover in, I mean, for service tax and different in, it will be appearing differently in the Form 26 AS.
Yeah, that always there will be a difference in the turnover.
How you cannot have that, no? Because when you download, you directly get it. So there itself, there will be some mismatch. So that's why I'm just asking.
Okay. No, mismatch is possible because the turnover for the GST purpose and the turnover for the income tax purpose will be definitely different altogether. But what I'm trying to say is, and for credit note also, the GST credit note also, there is a time limitation till next November you can issue the credit note. Whereas in income tax, I see that they have to file their annual return by May. They have to finalize or they have to revise that return. So I think they have that time limitation to do that.
So Venu sir, one another thought on this particular provision of section 38. So now there are two possibilities while we claim the credit in the 3B returns. one possibility, trace it through IMS dashboard where I accept, reject, or keep pending. That is one method of doing it. And most people are just going by deemed acceptance and doing things in temporary reversals. So will this provision have any impact on what mechanism to follow between these two methods?
No, because it is only saying in 38 saying that don't go by auto-populated statement. So the government is safeguarding themselves. If someone is parking it into 4B2, that is not what they are. They can do everything deemed acceptance and go. That is not what they are wanting to wait for.
So if somebody is like going as a deemed acceptance and doing a temporary reversal, again individual transactions will not get tracked on the IMS dashboard.
Yeah.
So this doesn't provide a solution to that per se.
Yes.
Fine, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Then next is section 39, which is pertaining to this return. So they have said and within such time, the words within such time and subject to such condition and restriction shall be restricted. So I think I think based on this IMS, they are going to bring out the changes in filing 3B also.
Come again, madam.
No, but this 39, now earlier it was only within such time. Now they are bringing and subject to such condition and restriction. So I think for filing 3B also they are going to bring out certain restriction as such.
Correct, because it is now going to be auto-logged and
Yeah.
everything.
Yes, yes. So based on that amendment, they are also
Yeah.
going to bring out amendment in 39. Then the next amendment is under 1076. This is regarding the filing the appeal before the first appellate authority, where they have added this provision stating that in case of any order which is demanding the penalty without involving any demand of any tax, they cannot file the appeal unless a 10% of such penalty has been paid by the appellant. So if there are any orders which is only pertaining to the penalties, then if the appellant wants to file an appeal against that order, then they have to pay deposit the 10% of penalty as such, and then they have to file an appeal. Otherwise, always it was a pre-deposit of 10% of taxes, except in case of e-way bill appeal, it was like earlier it was 25%. Now they have made it as 10% of penalty. Only my thought process was on this, that it should have been drafted as order demanding penalty without involving demand of any tax or interest to be as a more clarity, because there are few orders which can have a component of interest and penalty also. So I think or we have to assume that interest goes along with the taxes. So basically this is meant only for a penalty order. So this is what
This has to be evaluated issue wise in the order, not order per se, right? There
no,
could
it is for order per se. It is order. It is not issue wise.
No, let's say there are 5 issues in the order, and one of the issues has only penalty demand.
I think it is only for a order based. It is not issue based. That is because it says in case of any order demanding penalty. So without involving demand of any tax. So even other those 4 issues also should not have component of taxes. Then no appeal shall be filed. So according to me, appeal against such order. So it is order based and not issue based.
Kuber, your thoughts on this? Venu sir, mute yourself now.
ಯಾರಿನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡಿಲ್ವೋ ಅವರು ತಗೋಬಹುದು.
Venu, I think we are able to hear you. You can mute and Kuber, can you just give your thoughts?
Sorry.
Yeah. Kuber or anybody
Kuber
else?
just left, madam. He had another call, so he
Okay.
told me he dropped at 9:10.
Yeah.
Madam, what about the tax and penalties there?
That's what I said. Even for that, it is not applicable. It is only a purely penalty order.
So Now, assuming if there is so the 10% demand is only on the penalty, but not tax and penalty.
The classic 129 orders wherein only penalty. That anyways, earlier it was 25% pre-deposit specific to
No,
120.
circular trading.
No, circular trading or
Okay. Yeah. So now they have extended it to all penalties. Earlier, this proviso was for about only the 129 cases, no, 25%.
No?
Now they've made it 10% for any penalty for that matter.
Yes, yes, yes.
Can
No, no.
we read the
Is it for any penalty or only penalty?
Yeah, I mean only penalty orders of under any section, not limited to 129.
No, I'm asking a situation where tax plus penalty, what will happen?
That will not come here because it says penalty without involving demand of any tax.
Correct. So when there is a tax plus penalty, then the 10% on penalty is not applicable.
Correct. It is
10%.
only 10% of the tax.
Yes, only 10% of tax.
Yeah, about another question of mine where if there are 5 issues and one of the issues has only penalty demand, should pre-deposit be discharged even with respect to
Yes,
that?
in my view, you have to pay 10% of the penalty.
Yes,
One of
it
the
will be
components.
specific. No?
You have to see the purpose of this amendment.
Correct.
I think it still leaves the side interest, fine, and late fees if they are demanded. There is no prepayment required.
No, I have a different view actually. I was reading it as a order based actually, not issue based, but anyway. Because they are
Even if-
very specific.
Yeah, even if the order is only for interest or fine under 130 or late fees.
No, that is fine. Ganesh, I'm talking of penalty because if they wanted to bring that, then they wouldn't have brought up this point without involving demand of any tax.
Correct.
Would have brought that, then they would have brought issue wise, they would have stated that in case of any order demanding penalty, no appeal shall be filed against such order unless it. But when they are specifically put a precondition without involving demand of any tax, and they have referred here any order, so I am still treating it as a purely penalty order. Anyway, we have to just.
Yeah. They had put the words as any demand in the order. That would have given more clarity. But then, see, tomorrow my appeal should not get disqualified because of that.
I got your point.
Will become a issue of litigation. Then, if let's say it's quite risky to take that stand. And tomorrow, if it gets disqualified, my appeal admission should not be at stake. That is my only concern. That's
Okay. So there is some gray area.
What is that doubt, Annapurna? Because isn't it clear when it says in case of any order?
No, let's say I have 5 issues in my order, and one issue is let's say it's a general penalty they've put in where only penalty is demanded. And there is no corresponding tax with respect to that particular issue. Let's say they're doing it for, let's say, that 9C matters where people have not filed or belatedly filed 9C, they've put in a general penalty of 25,000 each. Now, all these while we were not paying pre-deposit. After this becomes effective, can they reject the appeal? Can they deny admission of appeal for the reason that my pre-deposit, insufficiency of pre-deposit? So I should not put my entire appeal admission at stake by going with a strict reading of this provision. So let's take 2 examples in a case where there are other issues and one issue is general penalty, and one another case where there is no other demands except this general penalty. So going by this discussion what we are having, in the second case I have to make a pre-deposit of 10%. In the first case, since there are other issues where tax demand is there, I will not pay pre-deposit.
Correct. For the reason that they use the word that in case of any order demand.
Order,
So
yeah.
it's a consolidated order.
Correct. If they had used the word any demands in the order, then it would have indicated issues.
Because it is talking of any order demanding penalty. So I think it should be read as order based as of now.
Yeah, I think better to take Jatin sir's view on this so that we should not risk the
Yes.
admissibility of appeal because of this.
Definitely. Oh. So similar provision was there in even under 112.
Just to summarize, it is firstly co-order and not issue.
Yes.
And if there is a tax in the order, this proviso is not applicable.
Not applicable. Yes.
It is applicable only if there is a penalty.
Yes. Purely penalty.
So e-way now the 25% issues have gone. E-way also it is 10%
Yeah.
penalty for first appeal.
Yes. So similar
Sir, but
provision.
practically for e-way bill matters, you will end up paying 200% penalty and taking off your goods, right? So
Like you can go for bank guarantee. That is
You
what.
can give a bank guarantee and file appeal within 15 days. No, if you file appeal, then this gets stayed, right?
practically, are you able to convince the officer that you'll give a bank guarantee and he's accepting it?
Assuming you are not interested in the goods, you are not in hurry to get the goods,
Okay.
then you will choose to leave the goods there and file appeal.
Okay.
No, that is not possible, no, sir. Otherwise, they will confiscate and they will other proceeding they will start.
No,
But-
that is after 15 days, no, my love.
After within 15 days appeal, where it will go into conflict.
Why? From the date of the order, MOV, can you not file appeal? It is not a manual, it's an online, no?
No, filing appeal is okay.
Once I file the appeal, everything is stayed, no? How can they auction it?
Practically, I am also with all of you, like the department, they don't wait actually as such. And even the client will be always in hurry, so we end up paying the 200%
Yeah,
penalty.
that's what
And
we
then
generally
go
we
for
pay and claim a refund of it.
yeah, practically. But one option is like if you this 10% if you're paying, it's and sometimes there was a department was saying that whatever you are paid as penalty, in addition to that also you have to pay 25% of penalty also as a pre-deposit. So because some payment they made a mistake in doing the payment from a different state, all that practical issues are there, especially in these cases. But anyway, today majorly we are able to see that they are paying 200% penalty and going for appeal actually. Hello.
Yes, madam.
Yeah. So similarly, we had for this similar provision is also brought in for this GST tribunal also. So additionally, it will be 10%. So around 20% it has to be pre-deposit has to be done. And we know when sir is going to join actually, like
Jatin sir.
Jatin sir.
Now, given that all of us are there, now we need to go back to sir and discuss.
Yeah, 1 second, we'll just finish it off this.
Yeah.
122B we have discussed on that unique identification track and trace, all that is done. And
Annapurna, in respect of orders which have already, which had to be now filed before the tribunal. So what is the pre-deposit? The 10% pre-deposit was not there. Let us assume a scenario when 10% pre-deposit was not made in the first appeal because this provision was not there. So now, if you had to file the appeal before the tribunal, should you pay only 10 or 10 plus 10?
See, if we read this provision now, what they have said is, unless a sum equivalent to 10% of the said penalty, in addition to the amount payable under provision 1076, has been paid by the appellant. So here, as this was not applicable, we have not paid this. So additionally, I believe that in this transition cases, I think it will be 10%.
Because originally 1076
was not there. Yeah, it was there only for e-way bill penalty. So in those cases which are there, till it is notified, I think we can use it. After that, it will be 20%.
Okay.
But someone can take a view that you haven't paid any penalty under 1076. So in 1112.8, pay 20%.
So, but the plain reading, it's like whatever the position of law existed on the respective dates of filing. So, if it is a case where first appellate FAA has passed order and it is the second appellate authority appeal, I mean, whatever, appeal before tribunal has to be filed, then it is 10% under 1112. There could be cases where, let's say that e-way bill matters, where 25% is paid, but now again 10% has to be paid.
Yeah, plus 10%, yes.
Plus 10%. So fresh cases 10 plus 10. So there will be multiple combinations of the pre-deposit
Yeah.
percent.
Because they have used the word paid. If they would have used as payable, then it would have been like, because they have used paid. So whatever has been paid will be considered here. So if this is not paid, then only additionally 10% we are paying. As it was not required to be paid actually. Shall I proceed? Hello.
Yes, madam, please proceed.
Yeah. Then this is penalty we discussed on that day. And this is for track and trace system. So this we have discussed on that day. I just don't remember.
No, track and trace we didn't discuss.
We have did not discuss. No? So now they are going to bring out a new system of track and trace mechanism for certain goods, or it will be applicable to a different kind of persons or class of persons who are in possession or deal with such goods, to which this section will apply. So they are trying to bring out a system for enabling this affixation of unique identification marking. They have defined also what is unique identification marking, and for electronic storage and access of information contained therein, though such person as may be prescribed and prescribe the unique identification marking, including the information to be recorded. So they are going to bring out few goods where they are going to give a separate marking for those goods, and they have to affix such marking on those goods, including whatever the requirement is there as per this track and trace system. And they are also supposed to give such informations based on the documents and records which they have to maintain. And in case of machinery, if they are going to install at the place of business of manufacture, then they have to also give the information of their capacity, what is the duration of operation and the life of that machinery, and the production capacity, whatever the details. I think they have to yet to prescribe these all forms which they will be requiring in case of track and trace system, and pay such amount in relation to the system referred to in tool. So the only task is they are asking amount to be paid in addition to this existing. So I think we have to wait and see how they are going to collect these taxes on those specific goods.
No, I think this is for the system.
Yeah,
Like
that's
it's a software cost probably something.
software. That is what some nominal, we don't know, like that's what I'm saying. Whatever the system they are going to refer here, some nominal charges I think they might collect for those services.
I don't think it is pertaining to tax. It is more for the usage of the system.
Yeah, pay such amount in relation to the tax. So, and in case if you're not complying this, I think they have prescribed the penalty also, right?
Yes, that's what is 122B.
Yeah, 122B. So they have also added here, in addition to any penalty under Chapter 5, there also be additional amount of 1 lakh rupees or 10% of tax payable. That is what I wanted to bring. So additional 10% they would like to bring. I will be leviable in case we are not compliant. So we have to wait and see what kind of goods. There is a thought process by many of us, like it can be a sin goods or it can be a sensitive goods, or something which are having a prone to tax evasions like scrap, metal scrap, plywood, steel, tobacco. So they're just trying to find out the goods based on their past history, and I think they will be notifying. And also they will be also bringing these compliances to the person who is possession or like warehouse dealer or storage houses. They're also going to notify based on that accordingly. So this is,
So they may fix the value criteria like turnover or the
yeah, they will bring out
tax
that.
of persons is there, no? Yeah.
Yes, and value of machinery also, they will bring out some specification. So we have to wait and see like how they are going to come out with this. So this is something which was there at the back end of the officers. Now they are going to bring out as a compliance perspective for the taxpayer. I think these are the major changes which they have brought. So should we go through those? Venu, how shall we proceed? So this was anyway chapter 3, specific economic zone.
Yeah, so now the circular, we have one circular.
Yeah.
We complete that,
Wow.
and then also now we have to see about how will we operate our Tuesday morning things.
Can somebody share this voucher circular once?
I am in the car
Yeah.
going to a client's place, so I just shut down the system and
Anybody else? Everybody has logged in through mobile. Once.
What is the circular number, ma'am?
Layer 213. Yeah.
Circular.
1 second. Voucher, we'll take it up. Voucher.
243, ma'am.
Yeah, 243.
243.
It is
Just
31st.
give me a minute. I can share.
So PPA, closed wallet, everything is discussed there.
Yeah. Have you shared it, Raghavendra?
Ma'am, should I share it to you on WhatsApp?
No, just share it here on this.
Share the screen only.
Madam, you have to make him as co-host. You are the host.
How I should? All participants shall I add now? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I've done it. I've done it.
Is it visible?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll go through that. Now, anyway, we have read in proposal that they have removed that time of supply for vouchers because they don't recognize as supply of goods or services. So now the issue is whether this voucher, there are 2-3 aspects which are discussed in these issues before going into this circular. One is whether the transactions in vouchers are supply of goods or services, or whether it is a actionable claim. So that is the one aspect which we have to study. And I think they have removed this they are planning to delete this 203 and 33, but they have not, the definition of voucher still remains in the definition of GST law. So that is the one thing they have retained still in the GST law, because they want to bring out this transaction in voucher as an actionable claim, which they want to bring out under the neither the supply of goods or services. So I think based on that, they have brought out this various issues in respect of vouchers, whether it is supply of goods or services, or whether GST is leviable on those transaction of vouchers. So we have seen various decisions and various activities relating to these vouchers, like Kalyan Jewellers was there, Premier Sales was there. So there were various decisions on that, and recent, I think, Madras High Court decision where they have stated that it is an actionable claim. So after that, they have brought out an amendment in this actionable claim. So can you scroll down actually a little bit, or I'll just scroll down once. Now they have just first thing is whether transaction in vouchers falls under the category of supply of goods or services. So they have just tried to interpret the definition of goods, services, come down. Voucher also we have read the definition, and many times we were interpreting that it is in the form of money, so it will not form as it is not treated as goods or services. And they also tried to interpret the definition of actionable claim, which will have the which has been defined in Transfer of Property Act. So referring to all these definitions and analyzing, they have treated this as a vouchers as an actionable claim. So now along with this, other than betting gambling, I think this will fall under the activity of vouchers. So come down here. Yes, so we'll just try to read together on this aspect why they brought all that is there. So from the definition of voucher, it emerges that vouchers may be in the nature of payment instrument, which creates an obligation on the supplier to accept it as a consideration or part consideration for the supply of goods or services. So basically, we have read this as a prepaid instrument, which is regulated by RBI. There are three types of instrument which has been specified under Payment and Settlement Act. So voucher was also recognized as a form of money, that is prepaid instrument by RBI also based on that instruction and direction and relevant notification and circulars. So prepaid instruments as defined are payment instrument that facilitate the purchase of goods or services against the value stored on such instruments. The value stored on such instrument represent the value paid by the holder by cash or by debit to a bank account or by credit card. So the prepaid instrument can be issued as cards, wallets, and in any other such form instrument, which can be used to access the PPI and to use the amount therein. So, and they also try to analyze the definition of money, which has been defined into subsection 75, which money includes an instrument recognized by RBI, which is used as a consideration to settle an obligation. So to this extent, we are able to get into that. Next point. No? So I think this was discussed when Sujata also has taken a session on this voucher, the definition of voucher and the definition of money and the description of prepaid instrument. So it was based on, I think Sujata was trying to give more highlights on premier sales. Am I right, Sujata?
Correct.
Yeah, premier sales, which has said that it is neither goods or nor services. So, and the description of prepaid instrument, it emerges that where the voucher is covered as a prepaid instrument and it is in the form of money. So as money is excluded from the definition of goods and services, so accordingly, vouchers are considered as neither supply of goods or services. So this is what they have tried to bring out. And then they have stated that it can be considered as an actionable claim because it is a kind of debt which will be there till there is a supply of goods or services against those vouchers. So that's why they have considered this as an actionable claim within them because it is fitting into the definition of actionable claim. And next is they have brought out that entry which is there in third schedule, because there is a specific entry in this third schedule, entry 6 of third schedule, which says that actionable claims other than betting, gambling, horse racing. So this is fitting into the definition of actionable claim. And accordingly, it is neither treated as supply of goods or services. So this is what they have clarified. And come down, we'll go with that situation also. Irrespective of whether voucher is, one second, just can you go up? So they have said recognize. So they have just summarized that it is an instrument which has created an obligation on the supplier to accept it as a consideration or part consideration, and the transaction in voucher themselves cannot be considered either as supply of goods or services. But however, supply of underlying goods against which the vouchers are used as a consideration, that will be taxable under GST. That we all are well versed with this. So this is what they have clarified. Next. Now let us discuss on this treatment of vouchers. So like for example, there are two models of vouchers which goes along. One is like it will be going from distributors, sub-distributors or dealers in this. And one more is where vouchers are traded between these agents, distributors and sub-distributors. So if it is a P2P basis or if it is distributed in the form of for the purpose of commission. So either it will be a profit based or either it will be commission based. So these are the two models which is rotating around for the distribution of vouchers. So I think there was a advanced ruling also which has been given by Karnataka High Court. I'll just share that also where they have discussed on this aspect. But anyway, this let us come below. Can you just scroll down below? Yes, so here where vouchers are distributed through distributors, they are saying that the distributor dealers purchases voucher from the voucher issuer typically at a discounted rate and subsequently sells the same to the sub-distributors, corporators or end customers and generate revenue through a trading margin, which is the difference between the acquisition cost and the selling cost paid by the said distributor or dealer. So in such cases, distributors, dealers owns the vouchers and operate anonymously with the full control over the process from purchase to the final sales. So here they are going to purchase by paying the whole amount, and then they are going to sell as such. So whatever the margin they are going to make from that will be their margin based distribution. And GST is very clear that it is as a transaction is neither supply of goods or services, pure trading will not constitute supply, and such it is not leviable for GST. Next. But if it is a commission based model, come down. Come. Similarly, here it is a principal agency model which rotates around. So for that, if they are going to earn a commission or as such on those transactions, then they have stated that to the extent of commission, there will be a levy of GST. Wherever there is no trading of vouchers, it is only selling these vouchers as an agent on behalf of principal. And if the agent is going to earn the commissions or fee or any other amount, then in that case, there is a levy of GST to the extent of commissions or margin, whatever he has earned against that transaction. Then the next scenario is like if there is a additional services along with that voucher, they're also doing this advertisement, co-branding, marketing, promotions, customization, technical customer services. So in addition to that voucher, they are also provided to the voucher issuer against the service fee, charges fee. For this, if there is a separate charge fee on that, then in that case also that whatever the additional services they are going to provide, that is also leviable to GST. First, let us go through all this, then we'll discuss on the issues. Then the next issue is what would be the GST treatment on unredeemed vouchers. So it is a kind of vouchers which remain unused or unredeemed. Like I received a Kalyan Jewellers voucher, but I did not use it. So it was an expiry of 6 months. I did not use it for that period. So in such cases, the business generally make book adjustment and account the said amount on account of unredeemed vouchers in the statement of income. The value of such unredeemed vouchers accounted is called as breakage. So there are ambiguities whether GST is leviable against that transactions, because there is no redemption against that vouchers, and they are booking it as their income in that case. So they are saying that they are trying to interpret here. They are saying that it is only a adjustment entry and there's no GST is leviable only when there is a supply of goods or services. So in this case of booking it as an income and as such there is no supply of goods or services and there's no consideration which has been received on account of this unredeemed vouchers. So accordingly, they have said that it cannot be considered as supply. Can you scroll down, Raghavendra? So that is what they have stated, that it is only a adjustment of a transaction and there is no supply as such, and accordingly it is not GST. And then they have tried to refer to understand whether it can fit into this 178, which was pertaining to this liquidated damages or penal charges. So they have just tried to say that agreement to do or should not, there must be an express. They have tried to consider this circular also, and they have said that whether vouchers is issued for the purpose of redemption in respect, and there is no express or implied agreement oral or written between the issuers of voucher or redeemer of voucher. So accordingly, it cannot be considered that it is a taxable supply service. So it doesn't fit. So accordingly, there's no GST payable because it is only a monetary value of any act or forbearance. In respect, they have tried to interpret here the definition of consideration, and they have tried to see that it doesn't fit into the definition of supply as well as consideration. So accordingly, there is no GST which is payable on amount attributable to non-redemption of vouchers. So this is what they have tried to bring out through this circular, and now it is fitting into a definition of actionable claim. And
what it says,
retroactive, yeah. And I believe that this we can take it as they have not brought out as is basis or that. So I don't know how it will happen prior to this circular, or this circular is a more of a clarificatory nature. So according to me, it will have a impact even on the transactions where they have not paid for the earlier period. But I don't know whether they cannot take refund also in case if they would have already paid the GST on those transactions. So I think this is something they have not clarified as such. Yes, Melody, you can just add.
Ganesh, what happens if it is a margin-based voucher? I just missed that point.
No, margin-based, they said it is treated neither supply of goods or services, so there is no GST impact on that.
See, in a margin based, you are 100 rupees voucher value, but you are selling it at 80, 90 because you want to have the sales being increased. So someone is buying in lot and holding the inventory and selling. So it's a value in the voucher. So they are saying it's outside, but technically they cannot also levy transaction on profit because what you are selling is voucher. They
Yeah.
may come up with some rules later. I don't know. Same like a forex change conversion of currency. So there is a service which is there. So that service should get tapped. We don't know how.
All right.
I think that AR was premier sales only, no? Then I think it went to High Court.
Karnataka High Court.
Karnataka High Court. So that's what I think in that also they discussed that it was an actionable claim and not goods,
Yeah.
but still that advance holding held as goods. Yeah.
Right.
So what exactly is the industry practice now? Like assuming Kalyan Jeweler is selling in bulk.
No one is paying GST industry practice.
They're not paying from the like earlier also because
So even for trading, they were not paying.
no.
At the time of selling, they were not paying. Only at the time of redemption, they were paying. That was
Correct.
the industry practice throughout from day one.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
I think they have taken that Madras High Court is replica now. So they have taken that Madras High Court. I'll just check which is that decision. I think it was Kalyan Jewellers only, to my extent. It was a recent court. Based on that, they brought this amendment according to me.
Okay,
Because
it's
time to
9:42.
release, yeah, 9:42. So we'll close. So these are the major amendments which are there in this bill. And the last is no refund. That is anyway we read that they cannot give a refund even though you would have paid it. No refund shall be made of all such tax which has been collected but which shouldn't have been so collected at section 120. So there's no refund as such, even
Yeah.
though you.
Is for the retrospective amendments and by and large for the vouchers only, no?
Yes. And that plant and machinery. Hello. Hello.
Yeah,
You're
we can-
audible, madam.
Yeah. So I think this was the changes for this vouchers. Anything else?
So now the weekly calls, the
Yes.
bi-weekly, fortnightly calls.
Yes. You take it forward. My job is over.
No. My job is over. I said whatever has been said.
It is everybody's job.
So both Jatin, in fact, Jatin sir explicitly said very poor quality of presentations, no research, nothing, no work is getting done. It will. The more I am in the calls, the respect for you guys will further come down. You guys are not doing any good job. And I don't think it is adding any value. Most of them are just coming to the call because one reminder is sent. So neither it in existence nor they prepare or they only use some good English jargons and move on. So I am not sure to what extent sir would be coming back now.
I was just wondering, sir, like whenever we have any presentation or anything, so probably for the initial part, we should have the presentations, and we as members will, kind of get involved or share our thoughts or ask questions to the speaker and all that. And maybe half an hour in the end, if Jatin sir can join, so that we respect his time as well and make the most out of it. By then, I kind of summarize our queries and our thoughts on it and get it validated by Jatin sir, so that we can conclude at least and have few takeaways that needs to be incorporated back in the presentation material and shared by the speaker. I think this is something I thought.
Yeah, so this is another point sir said is no one bothers to come back and after the discussion, discussion points are updated and shared. So it's only discussed, then everyone feels that their job is done once they are presented. He said he didn't say once they vomited. So early in the morning, we are coming to clean someone's vomit. Now, I don't think, Annapurna, this also works, that calling half an hour at the end, because we don't know where we will be, whether the session will be complete, not complete, at what time it will be complete.
Mm. Or see, if it is for the next session, again it will be a problem. Like the first half an hour of the next session, there'll be a lot of disconnect as well.
Yeah. By the way, to my message, some 5 responses came. Others, I have no clue what is there in their mind also.
Venu, I think mentors are required for this kind of session actually. And I agree that we all have not contributed to the extent what he is expecting actually. So I think we have to elevate ourselves to his expectation and try to see that he will mentor it and take it forward actually. I think that should be our assurance from all of us actually. Then I think he can be a part of that, right, Venu?
And also, Venu sir, initially when we started, we had this concept of preparer and reviewer, no?
Yeah.
Maybe see if that will help.
Maybe for a couple of days, maybe we can ask them to join at least once in two sessions or something, so that we can get some more clarity. We can at least jot down a couple of points where we have issues which can be discussed with the mentors. See, I feel that for them, they feel that whatever we are discussing is very trivial or very minute, or it is not of relevance, probably. So, or it is too very basic for them when it is being done. So, could be possible that we can
Shekhar, Shekhar,
gather
I
a couple
don't
of
think
issues
so.
and
Shekhar, I think we should not tell that for them if they are finding it very basic or it is. See, everybody are trying to give their whatever they are able to do that, they are able to do that. But only thing is, to the extent what I am able to understand with the Venu's conversation and the discussion, what I am trying to understand is sir is expecting more than what we are doing today.
okay.
Somewhere it is not that sir is saying, no, it is very basic, I do not, or it is not prepared, not like, but he is expecting something more than what we are doing today. That is
So
what.
he wants us to put more effort. That's what
Yes, yes.
in
And
each of the thing.
a few of the sessions, what he found that it was not prepared completely.
No, then can we do a couple thing where instead of one person preparing, can we make it into a group preparation so that everybody are also intervened? Everybody also get involved. At least 2 or 3 people are involved in a particular topic. Then the type of questions which are going to come up or the level of understanding also is going to improve, right? Can we do that on that lines?
See, that back end, any of us can do it. That is fine. But when it is presented to sir, or when the mentors are with us and when all our members are there, they want that some research-based material should be there so that it will.
That is what I'm telling. So for that, what happens when somebody is presenting? So probably if we have a backup, so that what happens is at least when one thought, instead of one thought, 2 thoughts will work. So at least the presentation will be better off and little more issues also will come up, no?
Yeah, that is fine, but that is what they are saying that. And many times Venu has to follow for all the speakers, and we are adding. So something we have to try to see if we can reduce that work, and we are following the timings which he has reserved for us actually. So I
Okay.
think that also we all have to look into that also. That is what my view on this.
Maybe for this, we can have a scheduling meeting separately for half an hour or something. Or we can put the topics on hand and we can also put the allocation also probably. No?
Yeah, see, like once for all, we should do this for 1 year.
So what happens then? Things there will not be too much of a backlog. So what happens is we have the topics on hand. We can also have members so that each one keeps on adding a little more value.
Yeah, this would I would agree with this because I see two things I don't agree is doing a group work. Then no one will be responsible. Everyone will think Shekhar will do, Shekhar will think Mylar will do, Mylar will think Abhishek will do. So they're all part of the group. Everyone have a very good reason saying that I have department appeal to handle, I have IMS to handle, I have other works to do. No one can be like we are not deeming someone's work is low or big. Second, Annapurna reviewer maker thing, I will say it is going to become failure. Like as Annapurna Kabramanam said, I am struggling till the last minute to get the presentation. I'll keep asking, share me the presentation. I will say because I don't want to get bombarded from Jatin sir as what nonsense is this. What are the points covered? What is not covered is what I have to see. But like neither I get the presentations nor I get a confirmation that they are taking the session. It happens with most. Like I'm not pointing to one person. Now, if I get one, then send it to someone, they reviewing and sending it back, it is going to put a burden, more burden on me, and I will fail at once somewhere. Then system would collapse. Rather, I would agree that we do like once in 3 months one meeting, saying that what are all the topics that we will take up this week or this quarter, who will do what, let
And
us
one more
discuss,
thing,
agree.
Venu, not only that, see what we could do is once the session, next session is going to be, say, for example, it is on, say, credit notes and discounts. If we take that as a topic, then if we know what we have to prepare, we also can be prepared a little when we know what is happening nowadays. At the fag end, we are deciding the means we know that only on the previous night we know what is the topic for the next day. So
No,
that is what.
Shekhar, this time I made sure 6 months back itself I have published who will be talking what.
No. What I'm telling is, so the previous session when it is there for the next session, who are all the, at least we know the tentative topics for
Uh,
the thing. That's what I'm just telling.
I
yeah,
So that
so
what
that,
happens, it will
that
be
I
a
am
reminder.
saying,
It will be a
agree, because,
reminder for us. We can take it forward is what I, in my view is actually.
yeah, so that I am saying we will do one quarterly meeting
Yeah.
and say what are the topics that we will have to discuss and who will do what. So let it have a
all
collectively decide the topics and the speakers and the thing. Right now we have people who have not presented more than 2 years. The expectation is once in a quarter there should be one presentation. It's like every month minimum two will happen. Sometimes three will happen. That means 4 to 6 sessions. So in a quarter we will be at least covering 10 things. So out of 15 members, that means one round every quarter will have to be presented by everyone. That's how it should be.
see what
But
we
we
can
have
do
people who
is
have
that
not presented for 1 year, 2 years, everyone still, and we are doing nothing with it. Everyone are doing nothing with it. So when we collectively meet, I think we should hold each other to account, saying that if it is not working for you, it's okay. Don't be in the group. We should be the bold enough to say that that's okay, fine. You have other things. I am not saying that you're going out means it is some less respect or not. It is not working for you, fine. It is not working. And we will pair it. Maybe we will have 2-3 members group, so that between them they will ensure that they bring more quality. We can say this group has less quality. We can divide everyone into 3 groups and we see the other group members may support. But I will still say presentation would be only by one person and not like 2-3 persons together. That
so
person can take support of anyone. This
yeah.
is
Yes,
my
yes.
view.
I'm
So,
okay with.
Venu
So
sir,
that
like
what happens
once we end
first.
one session, for the next session, whatever topic is there, we'll just put it up in the group and everybody can list the issues surrounding it before the 15 days itself. So that speaker will work on it and all those issues will get covered.
Yeah, that I am saying that every quarter we will come on, meet, discuss this.
No. What
Because
Annapurna is
many times
telling for the
I
topic,
run out of
Venu,
ideas.
actually,
Huh?
what Annapurna is telling is if we know the next week's topic, for example, So we will give the questions now only for that particular topic, so that the presenter also will be prepared for all
Agreed, Shekhar.
the
I am
queries.
saying that.
That's all. What you are telling is listing of the
I'm saying
topics.
that let us. No, we will, when we meet, we will discuss, assign, align, who will do when, we will list all those things.
Yeah. I think we can do that way. No, that is better. So what happens is even quality of the output also will be better. Venu.
Yeah.
Just a small suggestion from my side, maybe case study based presentation will work so that, we can eliminate the journey, history, geography, provisions, all that will get eliminated. We will be specifically focusing only on the case study so that healthier discussions will happen. The quality of program also will enhance.
So the person who is presenting, he prepares a case study and walks us through that case.
Yes.
Okay.
The delegation will focus only around that case study so that the presenter is well absorbed on the basic concepts, and we have to assume that others also study and come.
So what we can do is, next Tuesday we have Vinay's session. So after Vinay's session, we can continue discussing what are all the topics that we will have to cover. We'll put it into a doc, and who will take what, we will list it. We can do that.
Yes, sir. Done.
What is Vinay's topic?
Vinay,
Hello.
I want to hear from you. What's your topic?
Hello. Audible,
Hello.
sir?
Yes, Vinay.
Yeah. So topic is on critical issues of hospitality and tourism
Hospitals.
sector.
Okay.
So I've listed 10 issues that I've identified and where we are assisting hospitality sector and tourism clients. So those 10 to 11 issues I'll be taking up.
Okay.
Like
So
where
then
we,
can you post those 10 issues so that
I
if
will
there
do
is
that.
something additional,
Done,
we
done.
can add to it in that particular list only in the group.
I can do
So
that.
what
I can do
happens is, if there is something which could, I have faced a situation or somebody else has faced a situation, we
Sure,
can
sir.
add that also in that particular thing.
Definitely. I will do that. Just give
Yeah.
me some time. I'll reach office and I'll send it across.
No issues. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
So after Vinay's session, can we assemble and discuss topics, speakers, times,
Yes,
timelines,
I think that will be good.
and we will also make everyone into say 3 groups, so that between the group members they work together to elevate the performance. So that like when we say that okay, this group is lagging, then they will figure out okay, what else they can bring out to add more research material to it.
Yes, Venu. Which it is good.
Group, it's my personal view. Maybe adding more than 2 will not. I don't know how far it will work.
Madam, when I say more than, let's say you, me, Shekhar are in one group. Okay. When you are presenting, it is only you are presenting.
Okay.
But Annapurna Kabra can say that, okay, this group always comes up with the basic provision. So please, why don't you guys go and do some research?
Okay. So the presentation will be done by only one person, though they are in the group.
Yeah. The group is only to support each other to get some taxman login or like how Shekhar said, okay, Vinay, share these points. We will see if some more things can be added. So between them to discuss how to elevate the presentation performance.
That's a good idea. Good idea.
Yeah.
See, why we are looking at that, Sujata? See, because, for example, a couple of areas I would not even have ventured into in my practice. So what happens, there is somebody else in the group means, what happens is they will give us an inputs and it will help us in preparing further and it will be easier for us to take it forward actually. So because we would not have the practical exposure, when there is going to be a change of ideas, exchange of information before the session, that is where you may cover something else which is actually ought not to have been covered technically. So that is what will help us is
And
the main intention.
if we get morely engaged in our subgroups, we can even go to an extent of making a quick presentation before the main presentation within our subgroup so that we can get correction. I know this is a little bit asking for more, but then definitely quality can get better if we really see.
No, yes. What you're telling is surely it will be helpful because once we are presenting for the second time, the confidence also will be much better as well. Because technically also we would have made the corrections or what all we might have faulted, that also gets covered up.
Sounds rosy and nice, but let's see how best we can implement.
The only way it can happen is we sticking to the promises without getting attached to the emotions. If something has to be done, it has to be done. That's all.
Yeah. Feedback should be taken professionally and, we have to work upon it. There is no emotions attached to anything.
Yeah.
Probably you can insist on video on also so that people who are really we will come to know at least.
Madam, the problem is like they have to schedule themselves to be available fully versus at a place you can still do cooking in the kitchen, listening to this also. Sometimes you might not be comfortable doing it.
Okay.
True, Venu sir, you got us. So when do you suggest a meeting, physical meeting to discuss all this and take it forward?
No, what I'm saying is after Vinay's session next week, firstly next week we will have the session, okay? That was the scheduled thing. And we will list out the topics and who will take what topic, we will assign it. And we will also mark the dates. We will collectively list.
Virtually, is it? No need
Yeah.
to meet.
Yeah, virtually we'll do it.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay for everyone.
Thank you. Good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you, sir. Good day.
Thank you.
Done.